All right, happy Thursday. It's another Conspiracy Theory Thursday on Chris's Comments. This time it's the Chris's Conspiracy Theory edition. Today's conspiracy is Biden profiting off of the migrant crisis too? Well, I've told you in many ways how Greg Abbott, the local governor here in Texas, is profiting off of the migrant crisis. You know, he's collecting a bunch of people, he's busing them and all this stuff. He's suing the government and collecting money and then spreading the cheer amongst different counties like Kinney County, Del Rio, Uvalde County, Kennedy County, all these border counties that are claiming that there's a whole crap load of migrant influx. They've gone as far as claiming invasion when all of that was a bunch of BS. And so they're always claiming, in the name of Operation Lone Star, the border security policy, they need more funding. Okay. And in comes Greg Abbott with his lawsuits to the government saying we need to be financed for the border security that we're providing for you. And then going to the media and saying, well, Biden isn't doing his job. Okay. All of that is profit for my governor and everybody that's following him. Okay. Excuse me. But why hasn't Biden stopped this? That's a question that has been lingering in my mind. And for the most part, I've come to his defense. And I'm still in his defense. However, it's not without having certain doubts that has me thinking, what, is Biden profiting off of this also? Because we've already, and it's not just Biden, it's the current administration. Because we've already seen Vice President Kamala Harris not do anything. You know, she's been on the sidelines throwing all the stuff on Alejandro Mayorkas and all them while going overseas, doing important diplomatic meetings and all this other crap. Okay, we've already seen that, and now we see Biden, who's doing nothing but pay for this, pay for that, pay for this, pay for that, and saying, well, this is what we're doing this and that, da, 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 you know. And so far, that's been what's clearing him of any kind of accusation. But here's the thing: there's New York and Chicago, Illinois. They're all making the claims that they can't. They're being overwhelmed, no differently than here in Texas, no differently than Arizona, even Florida, a state that sticks out into the Gulf and into the water. But even they have migrant crises. Okay. But now it's the sanctuary state's turn to do this, and Biden is just signing checks left and right. Why? Does he get a cut out of any of this stuff? If not, doesn't that make him the biggest fool? But I think he is. Why? Because in my mind, as many of you who actually follow me know, it's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Okay? He's signing all these checks and passing out the money and all this good stuff and saying, I'm handling the migrant crisis, you're welcome. But is he really? Because take a look at what, speaking of money, take a look at what the mess that my Texas governor is doing. Starting with overriding the government National Guard and the government volunteer facilities that have been housing and quarantining sickly migrants and separating and organizing them and all this good stuff. Abbott has been a big disruption to that. And when he doesn't have any kind of control, that big wussy, rhymes with wussy, disrupts the flow of ports of entry. $12 million an hour in trade. And he's got to stop up the flow and in the name of border security and all this other crap, and that Biden isn't doing his job and blah, 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 blah. Okay? That's a lot of money to profit. Okay? So it's pretty obvious that somehow if we can connect the dots that Biden is profiting, it's pretty obvious. We now know that Abbott is profiting, how Abbott profits off of this. If we can connect that, we can actually get a far bigger picture as to what's going on. Abbott and Biden are profiting on their own methods, and the most Abbott can do is disrupt Biden's attempts. And Biden, who has not overridden anything that Texas Governor Greg Abbott is doing, he's profiting in some form or another. He's profiting on a different measure. Okay? And the reason why I say this is because if I were president and I saw the crap that Abbott was doing, I would have the military down there. I'd have him under investigation, and I'd have to ask, where's all the money going? Biden hasn't done anything like that. Hence the reason why I'm thinking, what is he making a cut? Is he getting his cut? Is he getting a fair share? Off of doing nothing? And I think that's very reasonable. You got Greg Abbott, who says there's a bunch of traffickers and peddlers and all these people that are criminals and all these people that are criminals and just dangerous people that are crossing the border. Yeah. And Abbott is busing them to different states. If I were president, I would be throwing an aiding and abetting charge on Governor Greg Abbott for aiding and abetting criminals to get to different various parts of it and endangering Americans. Sorry. Abbott was saying that COVID was rampant through all these migrants and all this good stuff. Yeah, but he's the one that shut down the quarantined sections that would actually have them separated from the non-infected migrants. It took 2 years for 2.5 years for Biden to get the COVID under control, which of course it's not forever gone. No virus actually is. If you catch a cold, that's a virus. Okay? If you catch a flu is a virus. So obviously COVID isn't going nowhere. It's just kept under control because we have a strong defense against it. Okay? It's going to be sold on shelves very soon in our grocery stores very soon. The anti-COVID, solution. That is not crossed. There's no doubt in my mind of that. As sure as it's a way for the pharmaceutical business to make money. Why? Because it's all about the money. Belief is the tool. They're going to put it on our shelves and say, you're better now. You're welcome. And we're going to go along with it, plain and simple. But back to the migrant solution, if I was to be president, I would have anybody and everybody that disrupts the flow under serious investigation. But Biden hasn't done that. Why? It's quite possible that those bust migrants are not exactly fresh off the border, that they're the 100,000 every year that made it over here, being bussed over. They've already been vetted. And if so, how is Biden getting a cut out of all this? See, that's the only problem that I've got. I can't connect the dots to that. How the money is reaching the current administration. as I should say, not so much Biden, but the current administration. Because this kind of solutional stuff has always been there. There's always been ways to make a solution out of this. But it always seems to be an ongoing crisis. You see what I'm saying? It's just a recycling of BS and everything, involving a lot of money, a lot of tax-paying dollars. So that's a lot of tax-paying dollars that's being spread around, to both sides of political parties, where one is saying, it's a crisis, we need to build a wall, and the other saying, it's a crisis, we need some humanitarian stuff. Okay, they don't say stuff, but you know what I mean. Okay? All of that is costly. All of that is money. How are they getting it? If you got any kind of info on that, please share. Because that's really my only one question as to how he's getting that money to profit off of it. Because if he was profiting off of humanitarian aids, he would have had stations set up left and right. He might have already have thought my solution to it, which is facilitate them in abandoned towns that America just doesn't want anymore. That's how I would do it. I find it very difficult to see how somebody with 7 decades, I'm only 5 decades old, this guy's 7 decades old, and he can't come up with that idea? Come on. But yeah, this stuff, it's a trip, and I can't connect the dots. He's not doing it the easy way. He's doing something where the mess is still there. Okay, where the mess is still there, to where somebody can still claim migrant crisis, and out come another bunch of signed checks going to them. I go some more money being spread throughout these states, and all this good stuff. Everybody's saying the key words being overwhelmed, migrant crisis. Okay. So, how is he profiting? Because he's not doing it the way the haters of the migrant issue are doing. He's doing something different. Okay. And he's benefiting off of it in an entirely different way. We know how the haters are doing it. I've explained it throughout the past few years. The farmers, they all got their migrants deported. So all the farmers that own the land, instead of paying the migrants, they get to keep the profit. Manufacturers, sewage lines, garbage, roofing companies, and all of them, they all got deported. So all of these American-owned companies that used migrants, with their migrant workers gone, they get to keep the profits of whatever they were supposed to pay their workers, and move on. That's through business. The busing, Texas Governor busing, using tax-paying dollars to pay for buses, to bus migrants, the busing companies to bus migrants, and collect a check. And because it's all done in secret, that bus business owner doesn't even have to pay his taxes. Okay? He gets to keep the profit. Busing migrants and all this other crap. You see what I'm saying? We see how the haters are profiting. Okay? How are the humanitarians doing it? Because again, they're constantly trying to set up facilities and all this good stuff and blah, blah, blah and everything. And, but yet they're not doing anything to enforce it. Okay? And they're not they're not enforcing the people of hate to stop. Okay? The people of hate are profiting. And the humanitarians are profiting. I just can't connect the dots how. I just don't know how. Maybe somebody out there that's listening to this segment or watching If you could share some info, because I haven't been able to connect the dots yet. I've been, of course, like I've always said, I'm one of you guys. I'm working. I'm working a lot. 10-hour work days. I come home, I'm exhausted. You know, and then 4 hours on Saturday, every Saturday. So it's 6 days out of the week. I'm just tired by the end of the week. You know. But I do take a peek into everything, and I do try to see. I do, ask questions and all that good stuff, and try to see what's going on. And here I am now asking all of you out there if you could connect the dots. And please, please, please don't give me any theoretical BS. Pizzagate and trying to get it to be elected into power. That's the most idiotic response ever. Okay, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to be so mean, but to say that he can't get any votes without migrants who aren't even citizens, ergo can't vote, to this day, that's still the most idiotic theory that I have ever heard. I don't want to hear theories. I want to hear answers. Okay? I don't want theories. I want answers. If you can connect the dots as to how Biden, Kamala Harris, and everybody in his administration is profiting off of migrant crisis, I'd like to know. Because again, I've already seen nothing but the haters are just that obvious. A guy with a GED is the only proof of a verifiable certified education can prove it. Okay? I can point that out. I've been pointing it out for the past 2 years, 3 years now. I need help on proving the other side, on how they're profiting. And that's why I'm saying no BS theories, okay? And this time, no email. I'm not leaving an email. I want you to be out in the open on my comments section to tell me, okay? And if you're gonna give me nothing but this Pizzagate BS and that he's doing it for more voting power, I'm just gonna ridicule you and delete you, okay? Because that is still the most idiotic theory ever. I don't want theories. I want answers. Okay? That's my challenge to all of you. And now the ugly reality. Sorry, but there is a chance that Biden is not profiting. He's playing it safe like the way he always does. He's going through every single avenue, being ridiculed and beat up by all of his, opposers and everybody, just to finally come up with that one solution that will come out. It's the same way that he did with the $1 trillion, $1 trillion in 10 years, $3 trillion in 10 years, infrastructure policy. Okay. Despite the fact that it's got its flaws by not being supported through the other avenues like the wealth tax program and all this other stuff. But he still has it out there. But he had to go through every single avenue in order to get that one bill passed. And that it just sucks. But there's an ugly reality that we are going to see a solution. That eventually he will start to enforce his methods after he's already gone through these techniques, these different avenues. It's a slow and painful process. We really wish he would come. It's kind of like the way he's doing it with Ukraine, giving nothing but a bunch of bombs and all this stuff. Supporting Ukraine right now is stopping Russia from invading all the other countries. Well, and Putin in particular, from invading all these other countries in the name of unification. Just by giving bombs, just by giving weapons to Ukraine. Okay, he's keeping Putin from doing that in the name of unification crap that he and his former leaders have done, like the way they did in Kosovo, like the way they did in Bosnia, like the way they did in Croatia. Okay. All of that shit, all of that stuff, was done every time the West wasn't doing anything to stop them. Every time that the West thought that everything was okay in Eastern Europe, Russia came and messed everything up. Okay? It's the same way that we have to do it on the Far East. Keep China, the CCP, from invading Taiwan. Keep North Korea from invading South Korea. Okay? The Philippines as well. That's the CCP. By enforcing them, we get those little islands, it puts a halt to everything that the Chinese Communist Party is doing. It puts a halt to everything that Communist North Korea is doing. But you got to go through the strains of this and that, and always the looming threat of being attacked and all this other stuff, possible World War III and blah, 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 blah. Biden is covering all of his bases before he makes a move. And that's the frustrating part. Which, again, brought me to well, is he really? Or is he doing all of this to get a cut? Just to get his pay under the table, so to say. Why? Because it's all about the money. Belief is the tool. But there is an ugly reality that he's doing this slow process, playing it safe, covering his bases. I don't know. And we're not gonna know until it's over, unfortunately. Just like everything. That's why it's a conspiracy. And even still, there's going to be questions. So, that's my segment. That's my challenge. Give me answers, not theory. I don't want any theories. I want answers. Like, comment, subscribe. No email, no private texts. If you're bold enough to make all these wild-ass claims, you're bold enough to put it on YouTube. Okay? We'll catch y'all later. This is Chris with Chris's Comments. Happy Thursday. Happy Conspiracy Theory Thursday. Y'all take care. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out.